Okay, today we're having a look at something that arrived in the post earlier. It is a blister pack from Wargames Foundry, and they are Rennaisance, now don't laugh, Rennaisance Landsknechts. I think that just means People's Army or something, People's Fighters. I don't know, I'm sure German speakers can correct me. And the Mercenary Pikemen. Now, my reason for looking at these is that, obviously, as you know, I'm doing my Warhammer Empire Army, and the Warhammer Empire Army is based on these sort of figures historically. And as you can see, if you're familiar with them, these look very much like the old style of halberdiers, spears, or whatever that you used to get years ago in Games Workshop. So I have been looking around and trying to see which manufacturers produce stuff that I can use in a Warhammer army. Let's have a talk about these first. I am very, very, very happy with them. They look lovely. A good thing, a good sign on a metal cast. And I know people go on, oh, there's not much flashing or whatever. These vent lines here, you can see lots of vents pieces on them. It means that the material has gone right through the mould, so it's a good solid casting. There are no real flash marks, but there are plenty of vents, which means it's been, it's a good cast, which you'd expect from Wargames Foundry. They've been around for years. They used to make a lot of miniatures for Citadel, and these are very, very nice indeed. I can't grumble. Okay, so there's not really much to say about the actual miniatures themselves that I haven't already said. They are very nice. Very, very, very useful in the Empire Army. So let's get on with the meat of the meat of the issue, which is how do they compare to current Games Workshop miniatures from the point of view of size and proportions. Well, these are true scale, and these are true 28mm, which means that they're going to be a bit slimmer than Games Workshop, as I understand it. Which in fact you'll probably see that they are, so I'll just move these out of the way and we'll just use this chap, keep him stood up. This is one of the great swords that I've got, and if you look at him from a height point of view, they're pretty much the same. I mean, the greatsword dude is a bit bigger from the point of view of his hat's higher, but they're pretty the same from a foot to eye perspective. The difference you'll notice is that the proportions are slightly weird with Games Workshop. They tend to have bulkier bodies, but I think he could sit quite happily in the same army, maybe not in the same ranking. Well, obviously they're two different troop types, but you wouldn't stand them next to each other, but I think on the table as a separate regiment they'd be fine. The plastics, this is a plastic State Trooper. You notice it a bit more here, the difference in the body builds and stuff. Foot to eye, I think the plastic is probably taller and bulkier, because this is the newer stuff from Games Workshop. However, once again, I'm looking at an alternative miniature set than the Games Workshop miniatures, and just let me make sure that they're actually standing next to each other, because before he was far away. Yeah, but I mean, it's fairly reasonable. On the tabletop you wouldn't notice, but obviously you wouldn't rank them up in a unit, next to each other in the same unit block and the same movement tray. It'd look a bit daft. But yeah, I think it's fairly reasonable. Like I say, true scale, heroic scale. But reasonable enough. I mean, the face is the same size, the foot to eye is pretty much the same. I'd say this guy, if you stood his legs up straight, he'd be taller. But let's have a look at the other comparison I can do at the moment, which is this Landsknecht handgunner I got from Ratnik, which you may have seen. He is obviously much bigger. He's more bulkier. Now you could argue that's simply because of his clothing, but in fact I think it probably is if you have a good look. Once again, you wouldn't rank them together. I think on the tabletop you're not going to notice. So that's what I think I'll be doing, is I'll be getting a few more from Foundry of this period and appropriate other periods as well, and mixing and matching them together. But my intention is to actually replace all of my GW minis with the more historic miniatures. I do think these fit into the Empire fluff quite well. They look very Empire-y, and I think they'll be lovely to paint. One thing you do get with the Foundry stuff that is quite good is the fact that these are pikemen, or they actually include in the price the pikes, the metal pikes, which a lot of people don't. You have to pay extra for these, but Foundry sent the pikes as well packed, very nicely packed. They're not going to bend in the post then. Well, they might do, but if your letterbox is too small, but mine isn't. So well done, Foundry, dead impressed. The other thing that they did, they sent me a mini free with the order. Each month they do release a new like a miniature. This is a unreleased miniature. I couldn't actually tell you what it is. Just let me have a quick look. It is Curissa, sculpted by Shane Hoyle, apparently. So I think he will take a good spot on my putting it in focus amongst my Empire ranks from my new generation of Empire troops. Oh, one thing to note: these figures actually, this size, this is the scale that GW used to be many years ago. Their miniatures were pretty much the same size. So older miniatures, the old from the 1980s and so. Fancy miniatures are actually pretty much the same size. Bit of pointless information there, because they're a bit like rocking or shit, aren't they? Getting all of them. And the other thing that they sent, which I didn't expect, was this. This came in the same pack. This must be next month's free miniature. I don't do anything with Japanese samurai type things, so I know somebody who does. I'll see if he wants it. So expect a PM. Tristan, see if you want it. Alright, okay, thanks very much for watching. That's my little review and size comparison for Foundry miniatures. Very, very good. Or Wargames Foundry, I think they're called these days. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for watching.